the Suzuki Baleno has been around for a couple of years in South Africa, and I always used to call it Suzuki's best kept secret because they didn't really push the marketing. Well, they've decided to change that now because this is the all-new Baleno. And you can see the grille has changed very slightly. You've got the black grille over here. You've got quite a deep spoiler at the front. You've got projector LED headlights. You've got fog lights. Now, very interestingly, they've launched it in a 2-model range in the new ones. And in fact, it was the same in the old one. GL, GLX. This is the GL model, and I'm going to point out a lot of the differences between GL and GLX for you as we do this review, because it's very important to make up your mind if you're going to buy this car, which one you'd actually consider buying for yourself. So I'm going to point out differences between the two. You of course get steel wheels with plastic caps, can I call them, on your 15-inch wheels on the GL model. GLX gives you alloys. That's one of the big differences on the outside over here. You can see the space on the car because the Baleno is one of those interesting cars that is a size bigger than the price would indicate. And if you take a look over here, I'm going to jump in the back quickly, and you'll see there certainly is lots of room in the back seat. Headroom, well, with my hat on, I kind of just make it. So I suppose I can call that a win. You'll see the 2 front seats are set at more or less the same place, and there really is tons of legroom over here for me. I've got no complaint. A feature at this marketplace, and can I call it, is the air vents over here in the center. And look down here. You've got 2 USBs for the back seat. That's not bad at all. Again, as I say in this market segment, you've got ISOFIX fittings in the back seat, and you can see you've got pretty neat cloth upholstery. Well, why not? Nothing wrong with that. Come round to the back of the car, and you'll see they've put quite a prominent chrome strip across the rear over here, across the boot lid. And well, take a look over here. This certainly is an incredibly high loading lip. So just keep it in mind, if you're going to put heavy goods into the boot, you've got to heft them all the way up and over. It is a lot. 314 litres of boot space according to Suzuki, because it is pretty deep. So take that into account, and you lift up a board and you've got a space saver emergency spare wheel. I would say that well could take a full-sized wheel if you really wanted to. But anyway, that's what they provide you with. At least it is a spare wheel. So thanks for that, Suzuki. You know my feelings on cars that don't have spare wheels, so I'm not going to say any more about that. Close it over there. There you go. You've got rear park distance control, and you do have a reverse camera. Good features. I mentioned the engine a few moments ago, and you're looking at a 4-cylinder petrol engine, gone up to 1.5 litres now from the previous 1.4. Provides you with 77 kilowatts, 138 newton meters of torque, combined of course with Suzuki's famous lightweight construction, and especially the hardtech platform, to give you a really good power to weight ratio for the type of vehicle and for the size of vehicle. Let's check out inside, because that's where you're going to see a lot more of the differences between GL and GLX. On the road, the Baleno is an interesting car because it's bigger than you expect, number one, but of course it's got Suzuki's typical lightweight construction, the hardtech platform, etc. And I saw a quoted weight for the car of 955 kilos. And an interesting fact I've picked up is that possibly part of their lightweight secret as well is the fact that the car's got a very small tank, only 37 litres. And yes, with the exceptionally good fuel consumption that you know you're going to get, that is reasonable around town, I would have liked like a 45-litre tank or something like that, just to give you more range between fill-ups, quite honestly. And I think maybe that's just a little factor where perhaps, it's a silly little thing, isn't it? But just a fact that I picked up and I noticed, let me put it that way. But this platform is solid. It may be lightweight, but it's solid. The Baleno, of course, is very spacious, as you noticed, and it's a much bigger car than the price range gives you, that's for sure. It certainly is way, way bigger than what you expect in this price range. Spacious, decent sized boot. The bigger engine now, the 1.5 as opposed to the previous 1.4 of the previous generation, certainly makes a difference. May only have 9 extra kilowatts from 68 up to 77 and 8 extra Newton meters, 138.9 instead of 130, but you do feel the difference, and it can keep up on a highway very comfortably, very easily. You can cruise along all day on the highway, and that also is an important factor. So for its category, and particularly for its price, it certainly does give you a lot of car, and I think that is what you really are looking for when you come into this price range, isn't it? Hopping in behind the wheel, you'll see that, again, differences between GL and GLX is, one of the big differences is the center over there on GLX is a TFT screen and gives you a lot more information, and you can scroll through a lot more information. But this does give you the basics. It is very much the old-fashioned push buttons over here to change information, you can see. And look at that. 5.8 litres per 100. That's right. That's the fuel economy we've achieved on this test so far, and done a good 400 plus kilometers on this test. So I would say that's freeway driving, normal driving, everything combined, and we've achieved that fuel consumption. And let me tell you, old Leadfoot got his hands on this as well during the test, and even he couldn't affect the fuel consumption on this Baleno. That says something for the car, I have to tell you. On GL, you still get cruise control. Here's your volume controls and, well, the kind of old-fashioned system for the phone over here, which does have voice activation as well for calling, and I must tell you it does work pretty well, so I can't complain. You do have ESP, of course, and the park distance control you can switch off if you really want, but why on earth would you want to do that? And then over here, there's the button to lock the doors, because, yet again, sorry to tell you, you don't get auto locking on pull-off. You've got to click the button. Not a hardship, but still something I wish would be standard on every single car available, but it just isn't. Now, let's start talking some of the differences again between GL and GLX. Well, the screen over here, we've got a 7-inch touch screen. It's the new generation Suzuki screen. Works nicely. For example, you press there and that gives you your fuel economy over there. You can have a look. It just gives you all the different controls you want. There's home. Of course, I mentioned phone. It's got all of those. Also, I have to tell you that both phone connection and connection to Android Auto was exceptionally good and quick on this car. And that's something I do look at very, very carefully. And it's a point I want to make clearly to you that is there. Now, talking about the screen, I put the car into reverse. You've got the reverse camera. Big difference to the GLX now. On the GLX, the screen goes up from the 7-inch you've got here to a 9-inch. And you've got a 360-degree overhead camera as opposed to the reverse camera. So that's something you've got to discuss for yourself. Another feature the GLX has that this car doesn't is in front of the driver, if you just lift the camera here, a little heads-up display pops up from the top of the dashboard. On GLX, you don't get that on GL. These are things that only you can decide whether you want or don't want. You come down over here. They both have automatic air conditioning. So you've got that. You can set your temperature, etc., etc. It's standard. I'm not going to say too much. And below that, you've got a 12-volt and, interestingly, a single USB for the front seat. Nice space over here for a phone and 2 cup holders. All very standard. 5-speed manual gearbox. Easy, light, typical, exactly what you'd expect from a Suzuki and from a car in this category. So no difference over there. There is a 4-speed auto option available in GL or GLX spec if that's what you're looking for. Something else you get on GLX that you don't get on this one is, on this car, you've got a good old-fashioned key that you use to start the car, to lock or unlock the doors, etc. GLX gives you push button on the door and the push button start, as opposed to this. Again, these are things only you can make up your mind whether you want them or whether you don't. I can't say for you. A very big difference to me between the two, though, is this car has 2 airbags. GLX has 6. And that's something that I would consider to be really important and an important difference to me. So there you go. I'm not going to address the elephant in the room right now. I refuse to. I'm not talking the Suzuki Baleno versus the Toyota Starlet. I'm talking to someone who's decided they want the Suzuki version, and leave it there. And I'm saying to you, do you want GL or do you want GLX? Both give you, of course, a 4-year, 60,000 kilometer service plan, and both give you Suzuki's 5-year, 200,000 kilometer promotional warranty. All equal in that sense as well. So you can see, you are talking the spec level, a lot of extras on the GLX, yes. There's no doubt, luxury-wise, spec-wise, the bigger screen, the 360-degree camera, the heads-up display, the alloy wheels, the push-button locking and start, all those come extra. And the 4 extra airbags. Please remember that one. But there's a 50,000 Rand price difference between the two. Now, depending on where you're talking, 50,000 Rand can be material, it cannot be material. GL, believe it or not, as we're sitting right now, sells currently for 225,900. It's almost budget car territory in today's world. It's that low down, can I call it, for a new car. And certainly for the size, it's a lot of car for the money. Everything else at this price range is a lot smaller. So if you're looking for a slightly bigger car, but you're on a very limited budget, well, GL is a grab. But if you've got 275,900, extra 50,000 Rand, you get a lot more luxury, you get a lot more tech, and you get more safety. What value do you put on those? At the end of the day, my opinion, it's all down to your budget. It's a 20%, call it, price difference. It is a big difference between the two models, but you're getting a lot for the extra money. So it depends on how far your bank manager wants to let you go. And I would make my toss-up between those two on that basis. What can you afford at the end of the day? And that is how I would make my decision between the two, GL or GLX. Either way, you know what you're getting. They're talking about selling 500 of these a month. Well, I think it's ambitious, but having driven it, I can see where they're coming from as well. So I think it is quite possible. I think Suzuki have got another winner on their hands, and they know it. For MotorMatters, I'm Alan R. I'll see you next time.